it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today is an Inspire.Create.Challenge day, which is always great fun. So, our theme this time is masculine cards, which we know are always a bit of a nightmare. It's just, you know, unless they're into fishing or cars or motorbikes, kind of what do you do? So I have come up with this project for today. I think it's a rather cute project because apart from anything else, it's got a see-through bit, which I always like to do something a little bit different every now and again. So we've got stamping on the inside and then a window and some die cuts on the outside. I think it looks a lot more complicated than it is. Hopefully I will be able to prove that to you. I've also stamped on the envelope because I think it's always quite nice to do a bit of something a bit different. So there we are. I have prepared some of this because there is quite a lot of die cutting and there is quite a lot of fussy cutting, which does take a bit of time. So let's have a look at what we need. So I am starting with a card base that is Sahara Sand, which I think is possibly one of our least loved neutrals, but actually I think it's a really good base, particularly for a masculine card where you want just a neutral base. I've also got a piece of, in fact it's the other piece from a piece of the wood texture paper, which is, let me grab my pack, which is just here. So it's all these lovely, look at these, amazing textured papers, and they're all different sorts of wood. So we've got whitewash, we've got planks, we've got all sorts, and of course we've got this lovely pile of logs, which on the back is just the cut through of one log. So I have fussy cut the round the logs. This is not an original idea, it is all over Pinterest, and because it is all over Pinterest I am not linking to a specific post or pin because it is all over in Pinterest. This is the piece that was left, so if I kind of piece it back together, and this is the piece from over here, and I then die cut the other side to maple leaves I'm using this bundle, the Colourful Season bundle, which comes with the seasonal layers thinlet dies, and because if you buy it as a bundle you get 10% off. This is in that thing that we all forget about, the annual catalogue. So do have a look at these because it really does, they take you through the whole of the year. You've got, I mean obviously I've picked out the sort of autumnal bit, even though it's not autumn, but purely because it's masculine. So you've got leaves, you've got snowflakes, you've got this lovely deck chair, you've got blossom. It's just a lovely set, and you've got die cuts that, some of which you can die cut the stamped images and some of which you just die cut as die cuts, and I've done a bit of both. So let's get started, because basically all we're using is one sheet of the texture, the wood texture paper, a card base, a piece of window sheet, which I've already cut and already stuck tear and tape on, but I will be giving you the measurements for that, and then the die cuts. The die cuts I've used just some scraps of copper, gold, and then this is chocolate chip. And I will explain what I've done exactly as I go along. But let's start by making the card base, because that's the most complicated. Not that it's complicated, but the least straightforward is probably what I'm trying to say. So bring in my wonderful Stampin' trimmer. I know I should remove this, but I haven't, because it's a protective film and therefore it is protecting my Stampin' trimmer. So I've got a standard A6 card base. So it's a piece of A4 cut in half and scored down the middle. I'm sorry for those of you watching in the US who use 8.5 by 11. I do not have a conversion to 8.5 by 11 because I don't have 8.5 by 11 card. So I kind of don't know how to do your conversion, but it should pretty much work. Apart from the fact you'll have to adjust the height, but the width should still be all right. So I've got a standard card base. My window sheet is 2 inches by 5 7/8 inches, which in metric is 5 by 14.8 centimetres. Don't worry about writing it down. It will be on the blog post, which is linked immediately below. So I am going to cut my card base down, and I'm going to line up the left-hand edge of my card. In fact, actually, I'm going to fold it first, just, yeah. Because sometimes when I fold my cards, I have one side that's slightly longer, and that's this side. It's very fractional. So I'm going to cut at 6 1/8 inch, which is, here's the 6-inch mark, and the 1/8 is the second little blob along. So you've got one teeny blob, then another blob, and that is basically 15.5 centimetres. So I'm butting everything close up, and then taking my trimmer blade, which is the darker of the two, and just slice. You want to keep this piece. So I'm going to move my trimmer away for the moment. I will need it back. Then all I'm going to do is line up my window sheet with that edge. If I can get the tape off. Now I have put the tear and tape on, and I've burnished it down really quite hard. Actually, I'm just going to burnish that because I want a straight edge to be able to line up to. So can you see what I'm doing? So I'm lining up at the top, having got this square, and then just make sure that this edge overlaps your tear and tape, and just push it down, and then open it up and burnish that really well to make sure that it's properly stuck. And I've already burnished that piece. So now all we're going to do is take the other piece of tear and tape backing off, and with our leftover piece, I'm going to do it this way actually. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. I'm just going to do exactly the same thing, but from this side because it's easier, and line that up, and then burnish that down. And as you can see, I've got a piece sticking off the side. So back in with the trimmer and line this cut edge here up with the cut mark, the cut line. Push your card up, and then just trim that extra piece off, and that way you get an exact card base. So that really wasn't complicated, and you don't need this measurement, which is why I think in the US you'll just end up with because yours are fatter, I think 4.5 by, aren't they 4.5 inches wide, your cards, I think, from memory. So yes, they are. Yours are shorter and fatter, so yours will just be a bit further out, or you just adjust where you cut this sheet, first cut. So that's that. Now, on the original, my original piece was slightly wider, but I want to do a slightly different embellishment. This was with linen thread, and this time I'm going to use the copper trim. So I'm not worried that this is slightly narrower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up slightly further out, because then the copper trim is going to go down this side. So I am going to grab some fast fuse, and for the bits that are sticking out, which are going to overlap the window sheet, I am going to just put a little bit of fast fuse on, just so that they are attached. And then all I'm going to do is run some fast fuse. You could use snail, but because I want the paper to stick to the window sheet, I'm using fast fuse because it is more likely to stick. And then just holding your piece, decide whether you're going to trim top or bottom. I'm going to trim bottom because this is a kind of sticky out corner. Just line it up so that it is square across the top. Famous last words. And then square on this edge. And I'm not worried that this is showing. And then just from the back, it's always best to do your trimming from the back, because you can then use your card as your straight edge. Just trim in fact, let's open up the card so I've got a better, that's better. Just trim that extra piece away. And as I say, it's always better to do it from the back of your
card, because you can use your card as your straight edge and just run your scissors along that. And then that is beautifully trimmed off. I'm going to ignore that phone call because I think it's one that my husband is expecting, so he can answer it. Right, so the next thing to do is to attach our die cuts. So I've got the branch from the seasonal layers, seasonal layers, and I'm just going to run that across so that it comes across and down. I have cut this out of chocolate chip and I have put the multi-purpose adhesive sheet on the back before I die cut it, which means it's now just a sticker, which is great because all I have to do is peel off the backing. So get that last little bit off. Oh yes, I used offcuts of the double-sided adhesive, that thing. My brain's gone. So I'm going to have that so that it doesn't stick out the side. Now on the original I did trim that off, but because I'm going to have the copper running down, and because it comes slightly outside the edge of the paper, so here I did trim because it was sticking outside of the card, but it doesn't on this one because it's still within the card. So I'm going to stick my full maple leaf down first, and I'm going to use some oh my brain, fast fuse is the word I'm looking for, and just pop that down. Then the gold, again, I have got the double-sided adhesive sheet on the back of the die cut, so I can just peel that off, just get the little bits that are left off. Let me find somewhere on my desk, I know I have got a piercing tool. However, I can't see it, so let's just use the back of the end of my scissors, because I've got little bits of, that's it, those bits there. So push it onto your window sheet, sounds like a plan. Right, so just layer these up, doesn't really matter how you're layering them up, and again that's just stuck down. And then the copper one I'm going to just shape a little, just very carefully with my hand, and then still see if I can find my piercing tool, which the trouble is I tidied up my desk, which is always fatal. When I tidy my desk up I can never find anything, so I can't find it, so that's fine. I shall just grab a glue dot, a mini glue dot, with my scissors instead. I would like to be using my piercing tool, but there we go, and then just pop that on the base of the maple leaf, because there's quite a nice little area there that can take, let's see, let's pop it that way. Yeah, that can take a glue dot quite nicely. Right, so now all we've got to do is, actually no, I'll do the stamping next. Gosh, isn't it lovely when you've got a brain that's not working? Right, so I have got the outline of the maple leaf, which is stained, but as you know, my big thing is it's clean dirt, not dirty dirt. I've got chocolate chip to tie in with the chocolate chip branch, and just a scrap of paper, because I'm going to stamp slightly off. So there, I think. I want it to show behind the window. Can you see? Yes, you can, although the lighting is appalling. Let me put a bit more light on. Not sure if that's going to make it better or worse. Let's try another one. It is midday, but that's probably a bit better. It's midday, but it's an appalling day. So why would I expect the lighting to be good? I try and do my filming in the... I've just found my my piercing tool. It was right in front of me. I do try to do... Actually, I don't want to take that off yet because I want to stamp on the envelope as well. So for the envelope, I'm going to do the same thing, but stamp off first. So yes, I do try to do my filming in daylight. That's a dirty envelope. Won't use that. Let's try this one. It's probably a dirty hand, actually, picking up a clean envelope. So yes, I do try to film in the middle of the day, so the lighting's half decent. But hey, it's the middle of the day, it's over Easter, so why would I expect it to be nice weather? It's a bank holiday, and bank holidays in the UK are notoriously miserable. Crumb cake and the full maple leaf, and I'm just going to line that up, and it's relatively easy to line up, particularly when you can go immediately over your image, which of course I can't particularly because you guys are there. And then again, I'm just going to stamp off and stamp on my envelope. There we go. So that's that. The only other thing I need to stamp is the sentiment, which I'm hoping I have got the space that I want for that, because what I want this to do is to just tuck here. I should probably have done my stamping for this first. No, that's fine. So again, I'm using the chocolate chip, and this is the May All Your Tomorrows Be As Happy As Today. Silence as I line it up. And there we are. So that's all the stamping done. So, pop that away. So then all I've got to do now is pop the, get rid of that, is pop the copper trim round, and I'm just going to tuck that in. Now I have cut a very long piece of copper trim. You would think I wouldn't need quite this much, but I'm going to show you a trick, which you probably already know, but I'm going to show you a trick anyway. So I'm just running that round and then tie it in a knot. I just want to make sure that is flat. Yes, I don't want a kink. So I'm just going to, I like to do left over right, not right over left. So I'm just going to tie that in a knot, and it's just a basic reef knot. I'm hoping that that translates. So that's just a basic reef knot, and then, this is why I wanted an extra length, you can then open up the trim, but it does shrink by doing so. But you can open it up so it's a wider trim, which I think is really pretty. So there we are. So that's this one with its envelope, and this is the original with its envelope. So they are the same but different, which, you know, I like doing the same but different, and this is why I've allowed that to come in so that the trim can be there. But I hope you've enjoyed that. Masking cards, as I say, always a bit of a challenge, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found that interesting. Do go and have a look at the other projects that have been done to inspire you. The other members of the design team are amazing, so do go and have a look at their projects as well, and please take part in the challenge. We would love to see your masculine inspired cards, yeah, I hope to see you again very soon. If you need any of the products, hop over to my online store. Remember that the annual catalogue will come to a close at the end of May, so if there's anything that you want, now's the moment to get it, because we do not yet know what is going to hold over and what's not. But if you want any of the bundles, even if these two stay in the catalogue, they will not be a bundle in the new catalogue. So if you want to save 10%, get them before they either sell out or carry over, because when they carry over, you'll have to pay full price for each. Get them now and you'll get 10% off if you buy them as a bundle. So don't hang about. And of course, all the 2016, 2018 in colours will go. We know that. And also, we're expecting 99.9%, excuse me, of the designer series papers to go. So if you need any of that, please pop over to my online store and get them now while you can. There are only 2 months left to go. So that's it. The link
to the blog post for this is immediately below. All my social media links are also below in the description bar. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Any questions, queries, leave me a comment here or contact me through my website, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thanks a lot for watching.